All right, good afternoon, everyone, and I hope everyone is doing well. So today we're going to be discussing kind of the Transfer 101 mini workshop, but focusing on the Cal State universities. But before we begin, just quickly introduce myself. My name is Oscar Perez. I'm a student services assistant at the Transfer Center. At any point in the presentation below the slides, it'll have an email, transfercenter@riohondo.edu. Just feel free to use that email to send us any questions, or if you like clarification, or even schedule an appointment with the counselor to talk about transfer. Feel free to do so. So we'll go ahead and get started. So to begin, we'll discuss this kind of mini pop quiz just to test our community college knowledge. As you can see under the red mark right there, you'll see like the answers to these questions. So question number one, Rio Hondo College helps students transfer to CSUs, UCs, private universities, and out-of-state colleges. That's true. We have what are called transfer course agreements with these various universities. So for instance, the Cal States, we have different requirements that students need to meet in order to be able to have the opportunity to apply and have the opportunity to transfer, right? Some of those requirements would be like minimum requirements, major preparation courses, transfer elective courses as well. Question number two, when you apply for transfer from a community college to a CSU or a USC, you must also submit your high school transcripts and take the ACT or ACT. So that's false. So now that you started your pursuit of a higher education at a community college, you no longer have to worry about what happened in high school as it relates to like your SAT or ACT. So none of that is gonna play into account when transferring. So you don't have to focus on any SAT or ACT for community college students for Cal State or UC. Question number three, when you transfer to a four-year university from a community college, you transfer as a freshman. So that question is false. So during your time at community college, you'll be taking various courses, lower division general education courses. And as you know, later on we'll discuss, you need 60 transferable units to transfer to a Cal State. So once you transfer to a four-year university, say for example at Cal State, you would be transferring as a junior, status as a junior. So just keep that in mind. Question number four, you cannot transfer with an undecided major. That's true. Are we good?
I'm not sure why it said that. It's still recording, so you can still keep going.
Cool. So question number four, you cannot transfer with an undecided major. That is true. So various Cal States will have certain amount of spots available for a particular major on their respective campus. So in order to be able to apply for one of those spots, say for example, psychology at Cal State, you will need to do the major preparation courses and the requirements for that particular major to be, competitive for one of those spots in one of those campuses. Question number five, you must complete 60 transferable units before transferring to a UC or CSU. Like I mentioned earlier, that's one of the minimum requirements, 60 transferable units in order to be able to transfer to a Cal State. Question number six, you must obtain an associate degree in order to transfer to a UC or CSU. That is false. Earning an associate degree is optional. There's certain different benefits to getting an associate degree. And later on, we'll discuss some of those benefits if you were to earn an associate degree for transfer for Cal State in particular. Like I mentioned, feel free to email us at transfercenter@riohondo.edu if you have any questions. All right, so the California State University campuses, so there's 23 campuses just across the state of California. Some of the local Cal States in relation to Rio Hondo College would be like Cal State LA, Cal Poly Pomona, Cal State Long Beach, Cal State Fullerton, Dominguez Hills. So those are some of our local schools that we have in the area. So now In addition to that, there's also what's called local area consideration. So now this is something that's specific to the Cal States. So pretty much the local area consideration, the implications for Rio Hondo college students would be, say for example, so if you can see right there, Cal State LA is the only school that gives us local area consideration. Pretty much they give us priority consideration review for our students at Rio Hondo College. Say for example, if you want to apply to Cal Poly Pomona, Cal State Fullerton, Cal State Long Beach, we will be considered out of the area consideration. So the implication for a Rio Hondo College student would be that you would need to get a little bit higher GPA to be competitive, just because they don't give us that local area consideration. So that's just something to take away from that. Something that makes the California State University system unique is that it combines theory and practice. It has more of a practical approach, and that's also reflected in the majors that are offered at the CSU campuses, right? So some of those majors would be, for example, hotel management, rehabilitation services, child development, criminal justice, and nursing. So say if you're somebody who's interested in like child development, um, you would only find that major at the Cal State or a private university, but you wouldn't really find that child development major at a UC, right? Because it has a more practical approach to it. And also criminal justice is another good example of that. So that's just something to keep in mind for that. Moving on forward, so for the Cal State system is designed for daytime slash part-time students. It'll offer more classes in the evening, and also they'll have more wide variety of classes that may be offered in the weekend as well. So compared to like the UC system. So the Cal States, they offer bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degrees at their 23 campuses. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the minimum requirements. Oh, let me go ahead and go back. All right, so the minimum requirements, as mentioned earlier, you do need 60 transferable units, minimum of a 2.0 GPA for California residents, 2.4 GPA for non-California residents. And in addition to that, the completion of the Golden Four. So these are courses that you'll be hearing a lot if you're somebody who's interested in applying to the Cal State system. So the Golden Fours essentially are one course in oral communication. For Rio Hondo college students, that can be like your speech 101. One course in English composition can be your English 101. One course in critical thinking, that can be your English 201, and one transferable math course. So depending what your major is, say for example, if you're a social science majors, then most likely you'll have to do like a statistics course, something like that. So that can count for like your transferable math course, right? So it just depends on your major. In addition to that, so something else to keep in mind is that for the Golden Fours, they need to be passed with a C or better. And just keep in mind, this is just the bare minimum just to be able to apply to the Cal State system. All right, so some of the things that you can do to be competitive may include the following. Completion of general education patterns, such as the CSU general education breadth pattern or the IGETC. So completing a general education pattern is good for you. It can make you also competitive because it'll ensure that you have all your lower division general education courses covered. So once you transfer to a Cal State, you no longer have to do any lower division general education courses. So by completing that general education pattern, once you transfer to a Cal State, you would just focus on upper division coursework. So it'll save you time and money as well. In addition to that, completion of major prep coursework, that'll indicate the more you have, or if you can complete all depending on your major, it'll make you competitive because it'll show the admissions evaluators that you've taken the major prep coursework to be knowledgeable in that particular major, in that particular field. So you definitely want to really focus on trying to get the best grades possible for your major prep coursework. In addition to that, achieving a competitive GPA, some Cal States have significantly higher GPA requirements compared to others. So some of the things to take into account when considering a competitive GPA would be your major, the campus that you're applying to, and also the applicant pool. So those are some things to take into account. In addition to that, being competitive would also include the completion of an associate degree for transfer. And at Rio Hondo, we have what are called associates of arts for transfer and an associate of science for transfer, depending on your major program. Um, so applying to an impacted campus or major will require you to be competitive. So definitely you want to make sure that you try to get the best grades and GPA possible for that. Cool. So assist.org. So assist.org is a really cool tool that you can use to do research early on and figure out if a particular major is offered at a Cal State. Also, you'll be able to see the different major preparation coursework for your major at a Cal State. So assist.org, you'll be able to find Cal State or UC campuses. For private universities, you'll have to go on their particular webpage. So as you can see here, if you type in assist.org, you can follow my mouse. So here, you would just keep it 2019, 2020. Institution, select, for example, Rio Hondo College. Agreements with other institution, right there, you'll pick whatever Cal State you're interested in applying to. So say right here, for example, we have an example right here. So here it says 2016, 2017. That's just because this is the most updated, I guess, articulation agreement that they have with Cal State Long Beach for this example, right? So here on the right-hand side, you'll see all the various majors listed at Cal State. So this is a really good website to start doing that research early on. And then also I would highly encourage you to meet with a counselor. We have transfer counselors at the transfer center that can help you in combination with assist.org and use it to create an educational plan that will list all the classes and in which semester you would need to take them to transfer to a particular Cal State. So highly encourage you to make an appointment. You can do that by sending us an email as well. All right, so like I mentioned, completing an associate degree for transfer can also assist you in being competitive. So it allows students at the California community colleges to earn an associate degree for transfer while preparing for transfer to the Cal State University system. So some of the requirements to earn an associate degree for transfer is to fully complete the CSU GE or IGETC CSU pattern. Complete the required 18 units for the ADT major. So it says 18 units there, but it'll depend on your major program, how many units you will need to complete for an associate degree for transfer. So if you're like, say a STEM major and you're doing an ADT and say, for example, like biology, for example, it'll be more like 21, 24 units around there. So it'll vary from ADT programs. And then also earn a 2.0 GPA. Some of the benefits to getting an associate degree for transfer is you get guaranteed admission to one out of the 23 Cal States. However, one thing to note about that is that you don't really get to determine which Cal State to get the guaranteed admission. Usually they'll offer you like four or five different options to choose from, but it may not be necessarily the one that you would want that guaranteed for. In addition, program deemed similar to CSU. So just make sure that the associate degree for transfer that you decide to pursue is deemed similar to the major at the Cal State. Admission with junior status. So like I mentioned earlier on, you'll be just transferring with junior status to Cal State. And then once you, by earning an associate degree for transfer, you'll be able to transfer, and then you'll just need 60 additional units to complete your bachelor's of arts degree. And then lastly, this is a really one that students get a lot of interest from is the GPA bump. So it's a 0.1 or a 0.2 depending on the CSU. So you have like a 3.1 GPA and you get an associate degree for transfer, it can bump your GPA from a 3.1 to a 3.2, for example, right? So there's that benefit as well. All right, so In total, Rio Hondo College offers 29 associate degree for transfers. Like I mentioned, we have pretty much divided into two subgenres: associates in science degree for transfer and associates in art degree for transfer. So it'll just depend on the major you're pursuing. So as you can see here, we have all of them listed. And then also you can go to the Transfer Center website under the Transfer Programs tab. It'll say like associate degree for transfer. We have them all listed there with the major course sheet as well. Cool. All right. So for more information about everything that has to do with the California State University system, feel free to go on the website listed on this slide. So www.calstate.edu. So it'll have a lot of really great information for transfer students. So definitely feel free to use that tool to get more information about it. All right. So lastly, amidst this whole COVID-19 situation, there had been a lot of different ways to, help our students as it relates to academics. So here's some updates on grading options for the CSU system for Rio Hondo. So pass, no pass, students may request that courses be graded on a pass/no pass basis instead of the traditional letter grade. For fall 2020 applicants/admitted students and future students, any course taken winter 2020, spring 2020, or summer 2020 can be taken pass/no pass for admissions purposes. Onto the right-hand side, we have excuse withdrawal. Students may petition for an excuse withdrawal, which means the course will be annotated as an EW. For fall 2020 applicants/admitted students, an EW may be an option for spring 2020 courses. The CSU made changes to their admission requirement that may allow you to complete the courses in the summer of 2020 and or continue the admission process for fall 2020. And lastly, for future transfer students, an EW will not impact your transfer GPA for admissions. Make sure to repeat the course in future terms if it is needed to fulfill requirements. So this is all some brand new recent information that we got it from the CSU system. I highly encourage you, if you're interested in, doing a pass, no pass, excuse withdrawal, any of this, to meet with the counselor. Meeting with the counselor will give you the opportunity to explore your options and just overall ensure that you're on this track to transfer, or maybe you already apply and making sure that, everything is followed according to the new updated policy. So highly encourage you to schedule that appointment with the transfer counselor to get that information. And any other questions or clarifications, feel free to reach out to us at transfer center at riohondo.edu, or feel free to give us a call at 562-317-0518, and we'll be more than glad to help you out in your transfer process.